What is going on, YouTube people? Today, we're going to take a little look at booster boxes versus Pokemon Center exclusive ETBs. If you could choose only one, or perhaps maybe you're just limited financially, you don't have, you're not walking out there buying cases of stuff and pallets of stuff, but you want to get a little bit exposure to each release. You want to get a little bit of product. You want to throw a little money into this whole Pokemon sealed investing, speculating, gambling, whatever you want to call it. What is the best path to walk down? We're going to look at mainline sets, specifically from Scarlet and Violet, because that is when the stamped Pokemon promo era began. And once again, I'm going to keep this to mainline sets and not include specialty sets because they're kind of their own ecosystem because there is no booster box there to go along with it. Now, the biggest problem, if you're trying to accumulate large positions in sealed Pokemon, is the ability to get large positions of Pokemon Center exclusive ETBs. That's the problem, especially in today's market where you can only buy 2 at a time at MSRP. Then you're going out onto the streets to try to find stuff. So do keep that in mind, but not everyone has the ability to go out and buy multiple sealed cases of product. Maybe they want a little bit of exposure to each set. Maybe 2 PC ETBs that they're lucky enough to snag off the website is good enough for them. Or maybe they grab them on the secondary market shortly after release is good enough for them. Where does that kind of stack up against maybe grabbing 1 or 2 booster boxes? So for the purposes of this, we are once again using Market Movers. Link in the description down below. If you want to check out Market Movers, you get some free trials and some money off if you want to give it a whirl. They scrape eBay data along with a bunch of other places. No TCG here, but most of the stuff moves relatively close together. So what we want to pay attention to here is the percentage changes, because the dollar values are going to be different because by nature, a booster box is more expensive off the get. Most booster boxes in the before times, remember way back when you can get booster boxes for $100, you would be able to get them for about $100. The PC ETBs, you buy direct from Pokemon Center at like 60, 65 with shipping and tax and everything. This is going to pick up PC ETBs at the beginning of their secondary market price, not the $60 that they were MSRP. So keep that in mind when we're looking at these percentages, that the PC ETBs are starting at a slightly advanced rate, because on the secondary market, even right after release, they might be like $80 when you could originally bought them for 60 or 65. So this is also assuming maybe you had to go to the secondary market to go get them. So, first up, Paldea Evolved. Booster boxes have gone absolutely crazy recently, along with everything. I could say that for every product on here. But over the lifespan of the product, the PC ETBs are up 266%. This has one of the more popular promos. The booster boxes, one of the more popular booster boxes, up 133%. So, much better performing product here on the PC ETB. So score 1 for the Pokemon Center Elite Trainer box over the booster box. You can see that really took off. Now, in this case, it's more expensive than the booster box. You don't see that as often. It's going to happen one other time on this little list that we're going to run down. And that's really going to come down to how good or how popular the promo is. Paldea Evolved has a banger promo. The other one that this happened, Obsidian Flames. Booster box is currently at $210. PC ETBs, $350. 366% increase on the PC ETBs. Booster boxes, 100% increase. Still killing it, but PC ETB is another massive win here. Now, I think part of it is these are 2 early releases. They had banger promos is the biggest help. And 2, I don't know that these ones were printed as heavily compared to as we move forward in time. So there is less supply out there. Next up, Temporal Forces. Booster boxes up about 55%. PC ETBs up about 36%. So in this case, the booster boxes are outperforming PC ETBs. Next, Twilight Masquerade. Booster boxes up 85%. PC ETBs up 96%. Basically dead even. I mean, there's like a little bit of difference there, but not much. Very slight edge to PC ETBs, but like I said, that one's pretty much dead on, within a few percentage points there. 10% difference, but that could even just be a little bit of market noise, depending on when you were looking at start and end points and all that stuff. So very, very, very close on that one. So 2 clear W's so far for PC ETBs. 1 win for booster boxes, and we'll call this one virtually a tie. So 2-1-1. Next up, Stellar Crown. Booster boxes up 92%. PC ETBs only up 33%. Clear winner for booster boxes. So now we are 2-2-1, but I will note the 2 wins for PC ETBs are massive wins. I mean, absolutely huge wins. Last but not least, Surging Sparks. Booster boxes up. Now, actually, I want to note something on this one before we do this. Surging Sparks is a little bit different. Surging Sparks is kind of what kicked everything off in this most recent, oh my god, the market has gone nutty. So I did something a little bit different here. Now, some people were able to get booster boxes below MSRP. I was able to get booster boxes at my local shop for like $120 a piece. So you could do it. That was on release day. They very quickly sold out and then eventually went up in price. But you could have gotten Surging Sparks booster boxes below MSRP. Surging Sparks Pokemon Center ETBs, they went up multiple times. I think twice because I ordered both times. I got 4 both times. You had to be on top of it, but it was not the disaster that Journey Together was. So I started this one off assuming you had to pay full MSRP for the booster box, and at the same time, when booster boxes were at full MSRP, the PC Elite Trainer boxes were at $100. So these percentage changes are based off that starting point. Everything else, the booster boxes were basically starting at $80 or $90, or like 90 or 90, 95, $90 to $100. Not so much 80, but $90 to $100 is pretty much what every other booster box started out at. This one is different because it came into the market at a different time. That being said, booster boxes up 56%, PC ETBs up 80%. So a win for PC ETBs pretty handedly. 20% difference is a pretty good chunk of change. Actually, almost a 25% difference there. So 2 massive wins, a very solid win for PC ETBs, 1 clear-cut win for boosters, 1 kind of win for boosters, and then a virtual tie. Now, I don't think this is going to shock anybody that the PC ETBs are winning this and kind of winning it by a mile outside of a couple cases. So if you just bought the ETBs of every single release, and I really do think that's the trick here, whatever path you're going to commit to, just commit to it. When you start getting cute and skipping releases is when something comes back and bites you in the butt. Now, if you wanted to say, if you have a pretty good grasp on the single side of things and you're looking at a set and you're like, you know what, this promo just ain't doing it, I'm going to pivot and buy booster boxes instead. That's perfectly fine. What I don't recommend doing is skipping sets entirely. I just think that is asking for trouble. I follow the Rudy method of just get at least some exposure to every set that comes out. Even if you and the market aren't believers in it, you never know what could happen in the long term. Doesn't take much for everything to flip the script, and then all of a sudden everybody wants it. I'm not saying you got to go hog wild on it, but I just don't like the idea of skipping steps. Now, part of that is maybe my lack of knowledge on the single side of things to have a good grasp of evaluating that market, to say, look at a set, look at the artwork, look at a checklist and go, this set just ain't it. I don't have that knowledge base yet. So even on a set that friends that I rely on to tell me is kind of mid, I will still at least get something from that set. My general is booster boxes, and now I've worked in PC ETBs. So the couple takeaways here should be PC ETBs are obviously performing great. In most cases, they're going to outperform the booster box. Not all, but in most. So if you could only choose one, roll the dice on the PC ETB over the booster box. If you have a little gut feel on the promo, maybe you could switch that out for a booster box if you think the promo doesn't have a chance to perform, because we have seen the sets with weaker promos not perform quite as well. As always, curious for your thoughts and comments down below. We'll catch you boys and girls on the next one. Peace.